And then makes its way to the pocket.
Speaking of Svensson, Phil, just thinking of our morning.
Situations in life happen, and Pete, not injured or anything, but Pete late withdrawal from this event as well. So a couple Hall of Famers missing from the field here in the Players' Championship. How direct his line is, and you also know Jesper's speed and rev rate. He gets that ball rolling early. It's still rolling while it's in the pattern. Same thing the players were looking for.
Svensson and Larson and Lavoie and Lowe, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I turned around. I don't know who else was there.
Yeah, a lot of the BFF membership. The fans here.
That's why I'm now shivering. Thankfully, the pace will be so quick with 5 on a pair, I won't have time to feel that cold.
That's exactly it. The 5 on the pair, the 120 bodies that are bowling right now, generating so.
In retrospect, maybe we should have put our booth somewhere else, Phil.
Well, there's a lot of fans inside this bowling center.
Here's Greg Young Jr. with E.J. Tackett, speaking of future Hall of Famers. Sam Cooley, Brad Miller, and Nick Krummel.
A lot of people consider on tour right now are Belmo and Tackett. And it's been that way for several seasons now.
It's currently that way in the Flow Bowling Power Rankings. I know that much.
Yeah, we'll review. Rest of your top 5, Buttriff, Tackett, and Dick Allen. Of course, 2 very important spots with the PBA Tour points, one being 8th place. So Bohr had to go through the PTQ yesterday. Dick Allen, there's the mat's 5th in points. As these players migrate to the inside part of the lane, how they are going to do. Nick Krummel on the front 6 just rang up a vicious 10-pin to end his chase at 300. Over Steve Wunderlich, and PBA Hall of Famer Steve Cook took home that inaugural Touring Players Championship back in 1983. Players to use a little more aggressive equipment. Not going to see the bowlers having to make the big switch in equipment, make big zonal moves. Yeah, Michael Tang goes to the well. Not happy about it, but he must record. At Florida Bowl. And for the first time in PBA history in that event, Two left-handers are in the championship match. Stays in the third position.
Cutting you off there, Phil, for a moment. You know, Tackett has been either second or third all 6 rankings. He hasn't really moved much at all.
Well, his worst finish. Just click on that rankings tab, and that'll take you to the most recent rankings automatically. You can also select any. There's so few spots out of the PTQ. Only 6 advanced last week in Fairlawn as compared to 16 here.
Only 10 players, Phil.
Andrew Anderson dropped out.
Nope.
He did not drop out.
No, he's
Even with his terrible
inexplicably
start.
been in the top 10 the entire time, and I'm not really sure how that worked.
Yeah, he is.
Well, he started at number 1 as player of the year. That's just handed to him. And then he dropped 6 spots after that first event.
9 of them to this point. Belmo, Tackett, Buttroff, Barrett, Page, Prather, O'Neill, Anderson. See, one man I know we're going to see back in the top 20 after this week.
Pretty easy. Not too bad. It's nice to be able to not get on an airplane for a couple weeks in a row. But scores are high. I think you guys have probably been talking about it. I had heard
Jacobs, his statistics, you know, the 20-plus regional wins
Yeah.
and the 4 or 5 PBA national titles is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. So he's just going to – I don't think he's going to be in all of them as much as some of the other guys are going to be like, Jesus, I'm bowling with, you know, off the break point, right? Off the break point.
Yeah, you mentioned Carolyn Doran Ballard. We'll get a chance to look at some of her.
One of the greatest, knowing where you want your ball to hook and making sure it hooks in the right spot. You do that, you have success, whether you're hooking it or whether you're throwing it straight.
And Darren Tang taking the adventure. 61 for Kent, plus 160 for Simonson. Lavery Spar, the Anthony variety, plus 158.
Anthony variety.
Zach Tackett. Tackett of the Zach.
Simonson's actually in front of the ball return right now, but he's soft with his speed, and he's using a big ball. Yeah, that's a halo he's using, and I believe he's. Are you referring to the two-handers, or are you just referring to bowlers in general?
Well, no, the two-handers right now. Like if you got to move up that far in the approach, and all of a sudden your step and your cadence is a lot.
Simonson, those two guys. You know, Simonson's 21, but he's an old 21. When I say old 21, he's very experienced 21-year-old bowler. And then Bell at the bottom. There's the walk left. He's already in front. He's in comfort zone. He's on balance. Lets it go and slaps the 10.
How
right now? Mr. Belmonte, look at he walks left. Walks back into the shot. And there it is. Great ball speed. He's not throwing it.
Really get that ball through on the bottom, and that's just such. It's such a prime example, that V shape that Belmo has.
He walks away from it, and then he walks back.
If you were to win this event. So Francois Lavoie, who's currently not even in the top 79 under for his first 4 games, currently in 114th place out of 120 players in the field, and you just got to kind of correct. Indianapolis is Tier 2.
Which is essentially double points. Tier 1 being, for instance, Tier 1, the winner gets 2,500 points.
No, Tier 3 of 59.
What I find interesting about these Mount Rushmore discussions that people have in all walks of life, sports, entertainment.
Bowling PBA Tour in 2019 were the PBA Hall of Fame Classic to kick off the season in Arlington, and then the 3 individual pattern events.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of ways you could argue the 4 faces on Mount Bullmore. I mean, there's one reason. Some other notables, they're hanging tough inside the top 24. Shot. Then Wes Malat. Malat coming out of the gates. 277, 258 for plus 135 on the day. Larson made that late charge last week to get in the match play at the Tournament of Champions. Larson now in the 15th. He's at plus 99 on the day to get the plus 267. So another feather in the Machuga cap. And those young ladies will be receiving some very qualified college programs. Of course, one of the more famous on the women's side of the equation, Shannon O'Keefe. And her husband. Chris Sloan currently hanging 18th on your leaderboard. And Walter Ray, if and when he does win another.